I have been muted for the past 30 seconds. Hey everyone, my name is Janelle Villiers, and I am your host of the Other Side podcast. And I'm really excited to be with you today. And I just noticed that I don't even have my microphone, so I'm not even sure if you guys can hear me. So we're going to do a real live thing. This is real life, everyone, real life. I'm going to go grab my microphone, make sure that you guys can all hear me. That in there. All right. So, welcome to the Other Side podcast, where we talk about all things about being on this journey that we're on for living a healthy lifestyle, right? I would say more importantly, the mental health journey that we're all on is what we focus here on the Other Side podcast. So, it's the other side of the mental health journey. What does it really look like? What does it really take? All of those things. So, thank you for being with me today. Really excited. I think some of you may have noticed the topic, and I really love the topic today because of, I think a lot of times people think about how to be happy, but I think for most of us, what we don't realize is that it's really about joy, right? So how can we have more joy in our lives? Because I think happiness is actually fleeting, and you certainly don't know happiness unless you know sadness, right? So I think for me, just defining first what joy is a big part of the whole process, right? So again, the topic is how to have more joy. How can we have more joy in our lives? So number one, we want to define, I should say let's define it. So happiness, again, I believe is something that is fleeting, and we know really because we also have sadness. And I think you can also have joy in sadness. And so that's one of the things that makes it different, where joy is something that's within and happiness is usually something that occurs because of something external, apart from you, that creates that. So I wanted to talk a lot about joy. And I actually have 10 things that you can add to your life to help you create more joy in your life. And so let's get right to it. Let's get right to these 10 things that you may find helpful. So, number one, focusing on learning. I love this. If you are constantly in a growth mindset and you're always thinking about learning and what could I learn from this experience? What could I learn from this really challenging moment? Even though in the moment, a lot of times it just sucks and you're like, there could be nothing good that comes from it. However, yes, there can be. And so I love the idea of focusing on learning. I'm not even sure who said this, but if you've heard this before, please let me know in the chat if you've ever heard this. It's called, if you've ever heard this saying, which is, if you're not growing, then you're dying. If you're not learning, then you're not growing. And if you're not growing, then you're dying. And so for me, I feel like it doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter how much experience you've had in this world or in this lifetime, we're always learning. There's always something that we can learn, right? None of us, except for God, is all knowing. And so there are always things that we can learn about ourselves, even probably more important are the things that we can learn about ourselves, right? So that's number one, focus on learning. Number two, live in the present. I love this. Live in the present. And with living in the present, I'm going to add move your body in the present. So when you're living in the present, just focusing on like what your body's doing. I feel like when you're moving your body, it's easier to focus on the present. You guys know me, you know I love yoga, and I have found that the yoga instructor that I follow the most, shout out to Travis Elliott, if you ever watch this, love you, and your yoga practices that you post online. And he has described yoga as being a moving meditation. I love that because in this meditative state, even though you're moving, you really get to focus on the present. What is my body feeling right now? Not the list of things that you have to do today, not the list of things that you didn't do yesterday, not the fight that you had with your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, or your spouse, not any of that, right? You're just focusing on your breathing, your body and what it's doing, right? And so I love that yoga can be that moving meditation. If you're someone out there that does yoga, go ahead and put a Y in the chat for me to let me know that yoga is your thing and not just mine. And so living in the present, moving your body really helps to do that. I mean, even if you're lifting weights, if you're dancing, right? When you're moving your body, I just talked a lot about yoga, but when you're doing any of those things, you have to be very present to what's going on in your body in that moment, because if you're not present, you could actually hurt yourself, right? You could do something or step on something or, hold the weight in a way that's not actually safe, right? And then you could actually hurt yourself. So really moving your body really helps you to be present. Number 3, practice gratitude. You guys have heard me say this time and time again, right? Practicing gratitude. Right now I'm doing a self-appreciation challenge. So for the past 7 days, today is day 8, we are going to appreciate the things that we have done. What are the things that we appreciate about ourselves? I think it's a lot easier to give gratitude for things that are happening outside of us. And for some of you who haven't had any of this practice, you might be thinking, Janelle, I haven't even done a gratitude practice, not even a gratitude to self practice, right? So just maybe you start there, start with the external things like, I'm grateful for the food in my refrigerator. I'm grateful for the roof over my head, my bed. I'm grateful for running water, right? You're grateful for those things. And then it could be, I'm grateful for the conversation I had today with my spouse. It was actually really challenging, but I'm so glad we had it because it brought us together. Or I'm grateful for the conversation I had with my boss, again, really challenging, but really helped us move forward. Whatever that is, usually, again, it's an external thing. Being grateful to yourself is, you know what? I'm grateful that I actually worked out this morning even harder than I normally did. I tacked on an extra 5 minutes to my workout. And I know that's good for me because it's going to help me feel better in the long run, right? I'm really proud of myself because, or I really appreciate the way that I looked at my to-do list. And even though I got sidetracked by a lot of things, I came back and I got it done. And that makes me feel less guilty at night thinking about all the other things that I didn't do. So that way I can just focus on being with my family and my loved ones, right? And being really present in that moment. So I highly recommend gratitude. When you're in gratitude, you one, are in the present, and 2, it brings forth a sense of joy, right? Like all of this brings up internally, you're like, oh, there are so many things to be grateful for myself and things outside of myself. So again, it helps you to bring in this internal joy. Laughed often. That is number 4. We're gonna laugh often. There's sometimes, okay, shout out to Trevor Noah. If you're out there, Trevor, and you ever watch this, know that I'm a big fan. And I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna shoot my shot. I definitely have a crush on you. But besides that, I love to watch Trevor Noah and other comedians because they make me laugh, right? I work from home. I'm an entrepreneur, so I don't necessarily have anyone to talk to all the time that can make me laugh. Working on that, life partner that can make me laugh. Huge green flag right there, right? But yeah, just laughing. So watching something, and I don't even feel guilty about it anymore because I'm like, I need to laugh. Like laughing is good. Doctors say that laughter sometimes is the best medicine. And there have been a lot of studies that actually prove that what laughter does in terms of the chemicals in our brain and in our body, just relieving stress, it just does a lot. In fact, Trevor Noah has actually explained how laughter and humor can dissolve tension, sometimes but like serious tension between like a police officer and someone that they're stopping even, right? So laughter is great. It is great for the soul. Please get more of it. If there's not somebody in your immediate vicinity who can make you laugh, YouTube is it's a great friend. Find a comedian there. I also love the Graham Norton show. If you've never seen the Graham Norton show, go check that out. You will definitely laugh. Number 5, breathe. Just take a moment and breathe. I have said in the past, there's a proven breathing technique that works to help decrease stress. And that is breathing in for 4, holding for 7, breathing out for 8. That type of box breathing. So again, breathing in for 4, holding for 7, breathing out for 8. This really helps. 1, you're living in the present. It also, this type of breathing really helps reduce stress. All the studies that have shown this. So if you're reducing your stress levels, you're allowing joy to bubble up in you, right? Definitely want to make sure you breathe. Number 6, let go of the things you can't control. Just let it go. Just let it go, man. Just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Just let it go. There are things that you cannot control. And I know it probably drives you crazy that you can't control them. I'm talking to all the control freaks out there. You know who you are. Just let it go. You can't control it. You can't control the fact that there's traffic right now. You can't control it. Just let it go. Turn on the radio, listen to some really good music, listen to a podcast, learn something, right, that you didn't know before. Just, you have no control over it. So why are you like freaking out and trying to gain control over something? Honest to God, you are not going to have control over, and you're just not. So let it go and just breathe and laugh, and move your body, practice gratitude. All right. Number 7, sleep. Can you please stop it? Stop it with the scrolling. Stop it with the constant like stimulation of your brain. Get off the blue light. Go to sleep. Go to sleep and get at minimum 7. But I'm telling you, something happens when you get 8 hours of sleep. It just, you know, the commercial used to be milk does the body good. I'm telling you, sleep does the body good. Really and truly, it does the body good. So please, 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 please sleep. When you don't sleep, literally you are running on fumes. You cannot help anyone. You can't even be there for your family, for your loved ones, for your job, for your business. It just, please sleep, sleep. The show that you want to watch, it will be there tomorrow. Just go to sleep, right? All right. 8, let's set some boundaries, please. Let us set some boundaries. So if we're getting more sleep, that means the boundary that we're setting is after a certain time, put the sleep thing on your phone. So that way everybody receives a notification saying, hey, you're asleep. You're not receiving notifications. They're not going to get your text until, the next day when they're awake. That's a really easy boundary, right? Don't even have to tell anybody about it. It's just between you and your phone. Just shut it down. Put a boundary on your apps. I have a boundary on my apps for social media where I cannot be on my apps for longer than 2 hours in a day. If I'm on it for longer than 2 hours a day, it literally shuts the app down and it says you have reached your limit and I can no longer go on it. And I just know, like, unless it's like an emergency post or something, like, all right, can't get on. Like, I've reached my limit. I'm setting a boundary because I know that social media can take you down a rabbit hole that you don't want to be in. So these are really easy ways to set boundaries. Maybe harder for you, certainly harder for me, are setting boundaries with other people, right? So maybe it's just the person just seems to suck all the energy out of you, suck all the love and the life out of you. Maybe just set a boundary and say, okay, I just cannot spend time with this person as often as I used to. Try to limit the time that you spend with them if at all possible. I mean, if they're at your job or your place of business, obviously it's harder, right? But however you can. So whether it's, okay, hopefully I'll be able to do it an hour less a day, especially if they're at your job, right? Somehow you can figure out how to set a boundary so you're just not talking to them an hour less than you normally do, right? And then you kind of bring that back until it brings you the joy that they are literally taking from you by being in their presence. So set some boundaries, folks. Set some boundaries. You're not being mean, okay? I know there's somebody out there who's listening to this like, oh, I don't want to be mean. You're not being mean. You need to take care of yourself. It's the whole, like, you're on the airplane and they're like, please put the mask on you before you help others. If you are depleted of your own joy, how are you going to be the light to everyone else around you? It's just not going to work. So you got to set your boundaries. You got to do it. Okay. Number 9, give back. I recently was listening to a podcast with Simon Sinek. Most of you know him. He's the Start With Why guy, right? Or the book, he also wrote a book called Leaders Eat Last. Read both of them. Really great books. Highly recommend. He was being interviewed by Stephen Bartlett on Diary of a CEO. Stephen Bartlett, if you ever catch this, thank you for all you do. You bring on amazing guests. I have subscribed so that way I can help you continue to get amazing guests. And I love the way that you ask questions and interact with them. It's amazing. So Stephen and Simon were talking about what it takes to make friends And one of the things that Stephen said is that, well, one, he thinks that we have forgotten how to make friends, but two, we need to go back to doing service to others, to helping others. When you take your focus off of yourself and go to help another person, one, it's creating community, even if it's just a small community between you and that one other person. We need community right now, like nobody's business. So that's huge. Number two, the other thing that it does is it allows you to take the focus off of yourself. So now you're helping someone else. And there is something super fulfilling about helping your fellow man or woman, right? It is, I don't have the studies in mind to tell you this, or rather, I don't have the words from the studies to tell you this, but I just know that the findings from these studies have shown that when we give to others, when we provide service, it actually helps us, right? We think we're helping somebody else, but in all honesty, it really feels good to us. It does provide a sense of joy to know that we've been able to help someone else. So service, give back, please give back in any way that you can. If you can give back in a way that is a physical service, even better. I mean, some people, all they have is money. Great. I mean, honestly, if you find out that your money has gone to like feed a starving child, like that feels amazing too. So definitely give back. I don't want to say like only money, but I just know that when you can give your time and help somebody, there is something probably more immediately joyful in doing that. So give back, help other people. It's amazing if you can do that. And wrapping us up with number 10, cultivate self-compassion. I don't think we're really good at this. Let me just say this. I don't think I am very good at this. I won't say we just yet. Maybe there's somebody listening, and this is you. If you're out there and you're like, I got self-compassion for days. Bless you, because it is a struggle for me. I am working on getting better at this. And I know that I've come a long way, because there certainly was a time and place and space where I was not doing that. And so it's about looking at yourself and realizing that you did the best that you could with the information that you had at the time. And maybe it wasn't the best decision. Maybe the outcome wasn't what you wanted, but that's all you could do. And guess what? You're learning from it and you're growing from it. And maybe I'll just put I's instead of you. Sorry. So like I'm growing from it. I'm learning from it. And so I know that we can also do that. We can all look at ourselves and recognize that we're trying the best that we can, and that even if the result is poor, even if it's not what we were hoping to get out of it, we can learn something from it. That doesn't mean that we're failures. It doesn't mean that we're bad people. It just means that we're humans on this planet trying to do the best that we can. And sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't. And that's okay, because the next day we have time and place and space to try to do better. Each day is another day that we can try and do better. So number 10 is having self-compassion. And I would say that number 11, so bonus, here's a bonus one, is to be a part of a thriving community. This to me, I mean, if you can be in a community that gives back, super huge, right? You can be a part of a community that practices gratitude, amazing. If you can be a part of a community that focuses on learning, how amazing is that, right? Like any of these things are really great. And I just really think it's important to be around community. It really just helps us do that. That's what we're fostering here. And it is certainly a part of the community that I am building for queens. So shout out to all the Be Well queens who are watching. I see you. Thanks for joining. For those that are fellow writers, I see you too. I'm creating community to help us all stay accountable in our writing and getting that book published, right? And helping other people. You're publishing your book can help other people. So that brings me to this point. So, have you ever had the dream of writing a book? Well, you're not alone. About 82% of Americans have the same dream. But how do you get started? What's the next steps? It seems like it's really hard. Well, I'm inviting you to my free masterclass on July 15th at 7 p.m., where I'm showing you my end-to-end strategy on how to write, edit, and self-publish your book. You do have a story inside of you, and I'm here to help you get it out of your head and onto paper, so that way you can truly impact the people that you've been called to. That's right. That's happening a week from today. We're building community around authorship, and so it just aligns with our bonus tip for creating joy within ourselves is to be in a community. That is my time, guys. I hope that you have found these tips helpful. Let me know which of the 10 plus the bonus you feel like you're going to implement today in your life. Let me know. I really want to hear it. Put in the comments. I read all the comments. And so I just want to be able to read the comments, give you a shout out and all of that. It really, truly is inspiring to have you along me in my journey so we can do this together. Have a wonderful night. Take care. And I'll see you next week.